And the second thing I want to say is thank you to all of you guys. I have a ton of respect for people who try harder. And by coming here today, you could have stayed in bed and said, oh, gee, you know, it's overcast, it's raining, it's horrible out there, and, you know, short sales been around since 2006. What do I need to come? What do I care? You guys try harder, and I have a ton of respect. I've taught thousands of agents around the country, and I respect every single one of them, because just by coming to these kind of events, you show that you try harder for your clients, that you want to be different, that you want to be better, and I respect you for that immensely. So today I'm going to be talking about some practical changes that we're going through, what I am doing different, what I think people should be doing different, as far as the practical real estate transactional side of the short sales. Now, I'm going to start in a little bit of a different place. It's kind of hard to ignore what Desiree was showing us in the very beginning, and this being September the 11th. Has anyone ever been to the top of the World Trade Center? Anyone? Just three? Okay, so that makes it 4 of us in this room. I've been up there twice, and it used to be my favorite building in New York. Both times it was phenomenal. It's the one tower you go up on the view deck and so on. But I got a glimpse of President's remarks this morning on the radio while I was driving here, and I thought it was kind of relevant to what we're talking about. Make no mistake, every single short sale that I've been involved in was a tough situation for the homeowner. Not a single one said, oh, this is awesome, I get to wake up and do a short sale today. That's not the type of transactions that we're doing, okay? These are tough transactions, but the President's remarks this morning that I heard said this, that 9/11 should be remembered by all of us, not as something that is remembered by more fear or by more hatred or things like that, but instead we should look back and we should remember that we are now more united and that we are now stronger. And I look at these kind of transactions, we have, every single one of us as a real estate practitioner has a chance to help a homeowner through something that is difficult and help them to come out stronger in the end, and to help them come out better off than they were when we started the transaction. And it's an incredible thing we're doing. And if we take it half-hearted, we're going to work exactly in the opposite direction. We're going to make it much harder for this homeowner in the future by not recommending that they speak with legal counsel, tax counsel, and things like that, by giving unlicensed counsel. Those are horrible things that I've seen homeowners that are worse off after a short sale than they were before. So we need to pay attention. How many of you think that the market is changing? Okay, market's always changing. If I had to ask just a couple of you, in the last 2 years, what would you say is different than, let's say, short sales in year 2010 versus short sales in year 2012? What would you say is different?
Spend the time.
Easier.
Easier, someone said faster. What else? What else is different?
More clearly defined procedures.
Yes.
Okay, standards, procedures, yeah.
More educated consumers.
Okay. You guys are all talking about the banks. What else?
Prices are higher.
Prices are higher. You guys remember listing a house, and you show up at the house with a CME, and it looks like this, right? It's top heavy. You have about 15 active properties, right? You've got 2 that are pending, and you've got 1 that's sold, right? It's exactly the opposite now. Every single market analysis that I do, it's like 15 sold, 10 pending, 0 active, right? That's an up market. The pressure in this market is for the prices is to go up. The pressure in the other market for the prices to go down. It's much easier to sell properties, right? I mean, 2 years ago, we wouldn't be talking about buyers doing inspections up front. Forget that. There's 10 other properties that don't require me to take that risk up front. I'm going to go with them, right? Now, because it's very much a seller's market, even on short sales, we can make changes. So I'm briefly going to talk about just some things that I am doing in the practice of listing and negotiating short sales that's different, that's changing, and serving my client base, and I hope that it's helpful to you. First thing I want to talk about is pricing. Pricing is tricky. We used to price short sales. I used to talk in my class in chapter 4, when we started talking about marketing the short sale transaction, we talk about the automatic price reduction that I'm going to build in, right? I'm going to drop the price of any property that is not selling by 5% every 2 weeks. more if I need to, less if I need to, but generally I'm going to drop the price by about 5% every 2 weeks. Well, I'm not really doing a lot of price dropping these days, right? In fact, we're generally getting offers that are over the list price, right? So let's talk about offers from the seller side, and then I'm going to talk about my favorite topic in this day and age, which is the offers from the buyer side, because I think all of us can do so much better, and I see so many agents struggling in that realm. Offers from the seller side. What's the seller looking for? What do they want? Why do they even start a short sale in the first place?
That's what they need to get.
They want to get out from under. They are facing hardship, right? And they have options. They can do bankruptcy sometimes. They can just walk away from the property. They can try and waste their time. Try and loan modification, or they can try a short sale, which, in my opinion, a lot of times is the best option if done right. It is the least harmful to the seller long term, and it is a permanent fix rather than a band-aid on somebody whose leg just got chopped off, right? Which is what a loan modification generally is. So the seller is setting out to do a short sale and they just want to get rid of the property. Okay? Let's take a look at it from the seller's perspective. What is the best offer for the seller? Which is it?
The one that the bank will accept.
A well-qualified buyer.
Close fast.
See, there's my sister talking. The one that's going to close. That's the best offer. The one that's going to close. And you're absolutely right. The one that the bank is going to accept, right? There are really two parties that we're trying to satisfy when we're looking at offers. Yes, we need a buyer, but then the buyer needs to bless the whole transaction and allow it to go through. So when counseling sellers, now in pre-listing consultation, I'm going to set their expectation before we ever go into market. I'm going to tell them, generally the highest offer is the worst offer that you're going to get. Number one, it's from an agent whose skill set consists of being able to get a client's money away, which is really not that impressive, right? I'll talk about that more when we talk about the buyers. Number two, you're going to show the bank way too much money, and generally, there's a very good chance that you're never going to find another idiot like that, and the bank's going to insist that you find another idiot like that, right? So sellers, be very, very careful when looking at the super, super high offers that are coming in. A lot of times, that's not the best offer that you're going to get. Okay? Some other things that we're doing from the short sale side. We're constantly, we talk about, and this is getting into the bank negotiations, we're constantly trying to stay on top on what's working with escalations. I personally think escalations is the most important skill set that you can have when doing short sale transactions. What I mean by that is climbing the ladder at the bank, getting to the decision maker, getting beyond the person who is just saying no because they're lazy. Okay? It is escalation. So for me, the Bank of America Twitter line has been, I mean, you can escalate to Kim Dawson and not accomplish what you can accomplish by hitting Bank of America on the Twitter helpline. It is phenomenal. They can move mountains. And you can't call them, you can't email them. There's 6 people, I think, in that department, and the only way you can contact them is through Twitter. Okay? So constantly knowing what works, what doesn't, constantly improving. These are the things that are working for us in short sale negotiations. Okay? That's the seller side. Briefly, I'm going to talk about the buyer side. Searches and expectations. Okay? I'm like Desiree. I don't work with buyers. I predominantly work with sellers. I have buyers agents on my team who handle our entire buyer business. But searches and expectations, you need to be setting expectations to your buyers. If you find a property, we need to be seeing it that day. We can't afford to see it, after the weekend. If it's after the weekend, let's look at the next house. This is probably not the house that you have a chance at getting. You need to be fast. Okay? Second, and I mentioned this is my favorite topic right now because it's so frustrating to so many agents, but it's making offers. Okay? This is a short sale forum, so I'm not going to talk to you about making offers on investor properties. I'm not going to talk to you about making offers on bank-owned properties. That's different. Okay? Making offers on short sale properties is completely different. Why? Because a well-trained negotiator, and I would encourage every single one of you to learn how to be a professional negotiator, to study negotiations. That's one of the values we as professionals bring to the table. Okay? There's not too many other values that we can actively say in this market. Well, we give you access to the MLS. Okay, well, they can search the MLS. Most savvy sellers are searching the MLS before they ever come to you. Okay, what else are you bringing to the table? I think negotiations is a big one. Most well-trained negotiators will start with the self-interest of the other party, not their own. In other words, when you're making an offer on a property and you're competing against other offers, you need to be starting with the question of what we were just talking about, which is, what does the seller want? What does the seller want? And guys, if you put the question that way, it's not usually the money, is it? I cannot tell you how many times the agents are just emailing me or calling my office and saying, when are you doing the highest and best? Guess what? I'm not. I'm not doing the highest and best. I, and as a representative of the seller, and the seller, don't care about the highest and best. I want you to put your best foot forward, and I want you to show to me that you're not going to be wasting the seller's time and my time, that you're going to be the kind of buyer that's going to close. The things that Desiree was talking about, all day long. If you're willing to do an inspection up front, that's a really good sign. If you're willing to put up non-refundable money, unless you die, that's a pretty good sign. Okay, I've had offers coming in on properties where the buyer is offering to pay for the seller's home warranty, seller's coverage of the home warranty, saying, I know things can go wrong. I'm going to spend the $60, make sure the property's covered before we close, because I know you're probably not going to be able to fix the air conditioner. You're in distress. That's a really good sign too. So when making these offers, and I know this is such a frustrating topic right now. People are, I know, because they're calling the office all day long and they're saying, people are, you know, I've had somebody beg. I had somebody say, you know, just tell me what you want, I'll give it to you. And, you know, just by saying that, honestly, you're not able to give me the one thing that I'm really looking for, which is an agent who knows what they're doing. That's probably not a good thing to be saying. So when making offers on short sale listings, I would encourage every single one of you, start with the other party. Think about the seller. What do they want? They want someone who will close. There are two boogeymen, right? That one that we talk about, which is the bank, and one that we don't really talk about, which is the buyer. And I'll tell you, as someone who's been involved in hundreds of short sale transactions, most of them are screwed up by the buyer, not by the bank. I've got more problems with buyers. So if you're the type of agent that can bring an offer to me and show to me that you are the better, stronger buyer, generally you're going to be the one who's got the highest chance with the seller. I'll tell you a story in conclusion of what I'm talking about, just to kind of illustrate the kind of opportunities you as real estate agents have with short sale transactions that are unique. They're not present in any other transaction. I had a listing in Toronto area that we received 30 offers on in 2 days. Really, really, really nice property, short sale. You name it, we had it, right? We had agents whose skill set was, you know, I'm really good at giving my clients money away, so we're just going to write the highest offer possible, which is an REO strategy, right? Come on, let's be big, boys and girls. That's an REO strategy. You throw as much money as you can, and then you redraft the offer based on what? The appraisal. The appraisal, right? That works with REOs. It doesn't work as well with short sales. And if you're a listing agent that's taking those offers to the bank, you're going to hurt your seller. So we'll get 30 offers. A lot of them were cash. We narrow it down. We talk to the agent. By the way, if you never called my office, you've got very, very slim chances. Your offer will be presented to the seller, but you're not going out of your way to present your offer, to talk to somebody at my office and say why you're the best offer. Slim chances. It's just lazy. Okay? And I know there are agents out there who are saying don't call, and please don't get me started on that. Don't call means don't sell. Please get out of the business if you're incapable of answering your phone. Okay?
Absolutely.
Don't get me started on that. But okay, so we get 30 offers. We narrow it down. Now, one agent takes the time to write a personal letter from herself describing her buyer. Okay? And she says the kind of things that she thinks would be of interest to the seller. She was reading the seller's house. She looked at his bookshelf. She saw the kind of pictures that the seller has in the house and so on. And she says, this is my buyer. Okay? He's FHA, but he's very committed, and his job calls for him to be in this area. This is what he's going to do, is work in this area. Neighborhood is very important. And the seller reads that offer. And guess what? The seller picks that FHA buyer over the 29 other offers that we have, including full price and over list price, all cash offers. Why? Donald Rumsfeld said this: persuasion is a double-edged sword, reason and emotion. And if you don't have reason, and we are Western thinkers, okay? We are reason thinkers. We are immediately going, numbers. Where are the numbers? Where are the numbers? Guys, that's not the only thing we have to persuade with. Emotion is the other blade on that double-edged sword. And you can persuade somebody, especially in a short sale situation, much better with emotion than you can with reason. Here's somebody who is an FHA buyer who offered at list price with 3% closing costs that the bank approved, who ended up closing on a property that 29 other buyers wanted in the first 2 days, and a lot of them were cash. Why? Because the agent took the time to write the letter and persuade. Now, the comment I hear all the time is, Greg, well, most agents are not like you. They only care about numbers and things like that. Take the time. Have the conversation with the agent. Give them a call. See if you can persuade them. Explain to them why your offer is better. So this is something that I think all of us as agents need to be doing big time in this market. Big time, big time, big time, because it's changing. We have lots of offers to look at. Buyer's agents, your job is to get your buyer the house that they want over all the other offers that are going to come in. How? By showing to the seller why your offer is the best. Okay?